Hi, everyone. Good morning. It's great to see you here today on the second day of JupyterCon. I'm Brian Granger. Won't do another introduction there. Other than say, I'm one of the original Jupyter co-founders, creators, and it's really an honor to be here to talk to you today. Jupyter and IPython have become obviously a major part of my professional life, but also my personal life. And a lot of the relationships I've built over the years are really precious to me. And it's really an honor to be here and talk to you. So I want to talk to you about the following, that Jupyter is still not an IDE. And so you should maybe ask then, what is it? And how does that relate to this new AI future that we find ourselves in? So let's dive in. At times, Jupyter and IPython have moved very slowly. Fernando and I started to work on a web-based notebook in 2004, and Min, Reagan, Kelly joined us soon thereafter. But the IPython notebook wasn't released until 2011. That's a long time. For the first 2 years, the IPython notebook didn't allow you to change directories in the UI. You had to stop the server, cd in the terminal, and restart the server. We were moving very slowly. We got the first request for real-time collaboration in 2011. It's taken us 15 years to build that, and we're still working on it. Outputs and kernel status on long-running notebooks have been broken since the beginning. And I'm sure there's many other examples along the way. So it's very reasonable to ask, why is open source slow at times? Are we just really bad at our jobs and our hobbies? In particular, in these community-governed, multi-stakeholder open source projects. Well, first, and obviously, we have limited resources. Next, building consensus in large multi-stakeholder communities takes time. With millions of users now, at least, we have to be conservative about breaking APIs in the user experience. Furthermore, roadmaps and goals in an open source projects are typically not developed explicitly and proactively ahead of time. I like to think of open source roadmaps being more like a weather forecast. I don't know who came up with this idea. I heard it. I'd love to give you credit if you did. And what I mean by that is that you can observe what is happening currently and use that to roughly predict where things are headed. Another thing that has taken us time is that Jupyter has always prioritized building open, reusable, modular, and extensible building blocks. Examples include the Jupyter Notebook format, the kernel message protocol, the Jupyter Server REST APIs, the Jupyter Lab extension APIs, and many others. And lastly, we've often insisted on solving user problems that everyone else was ignoring. And what this means is that we've often been in the dark and unable to look at how other people were solving those problems. We want to acknowledge this can be frustrating for users, for contributors, and maintainers. Obviously, users get frustrated with slow progress when there are usability issues, missing features, and unaddressed bugs. And even when Jupyter is actively working on solving problems, it can be difficult to track progress and understand where things are headed. Jupyter contributors, maintainers, and leaders are acutely aware of this situation. We're not sticking our head in the sand and pretending it's not painful. It also frustrates us as well. And at times, this can lead to the burnout of open source maintainers. It's reasonable and understandable that some organizations and people have decided that the timelines of Jupyter were incompatible with the goals and constraints, with their goals and constraints. And today I'd like to play a bit of weather forecaster. In particular, the different sub-projects of Jupyter have been blasting away and getting an incredible amount of work done. We too, like all of you, our work has been accelerated through the usage of generative AI and agents. And I'm really excited that we are getting more done than we ever have before in the project. But we still can't easily answer the question, where is Jupyter headed? But everyone still wants to know. So I'm going to attempt to tie together a number of ambitious efforts in and around the Jupyter community to give you a weather forecast. I want to acknowledge this is a local forecast. I'm only going to cover part of the project. I won't have time to touch the amazing work the Jupyter Books team has been doing on Jupyter Book 2, or the Jupyter Executive Council, or the community building working group, or the Jupyter Foundation, or many other parts of the projects. This is also a biased weather forecast. This represents my own personal interests and involvement in the project. I do want to emphasize that I'm speaking here today with my personal Jupyter hat on and not my AWS hat on. At the same time, the work I'm describing is a result of a large number of people and organizations. Some of the work is being done at AWS. So let's step back to the beginning, really. What is Jupyter about? The mission of Jupyter is to empower people of all backgrounds to think, collaborate, and share knowledge using computational storytelling. This mission was adopted in 2024 by the Executive Council as we created the Jupyter Foundation. I want to clarify, notice in the way the mission is phrased, Jupyter is not a tool for building, testing, debugging, and deploying applications and software systems. We all know that's what IDEs are for. Therefore, it follows very clearly, Jupyter is not an IDE, right? This is often a point of confusion. If you look at Jupyter Lab and VS Code, you sort of look the same. The way I like to think about this is very similar to comparing like an SUV and a Formula One car. Right? You might say, oh, well, they both have 4 wheels, they have a steering wheel, a gas pedal, a brake pedal, some sort of engine. Apologies, I've been sick the last week. At the same time, they serve completely different purposes. Right? A Formula One car would make an absolutely horrible SUV and vice versa. And in case you're wondering, yes, Jupyter is the F1 car in this situation. If you want to see an example of how Jupyter is not an IDE, one among many examples, Jupyter GIS and Jupyter CAD are 2 projects that some of you in the audience here have been involved in creating, and they bring a full GIS and CAD experience to Jupyter with full real-time collaboration. And so you can even go further than this previous statement that it's not an IDE, in that it's not even really about notebooks. Yes, it's about notebooks, right? These documents that these 2 projects have created are not notebook documents, although they work with notebook documents. Jupyter's architecture has an extensible document type system, enabling anyone in the world to create new documents that integrate with all the features of Jupyter. I want to acknowledge, so the parts of this story that I'm going to focus on today of the mission are the thinking and collaborating parts. I want to acknowledge that thinking and collaborating are messy human problems, not technical ones. I can't emphasize this enough. Jupyter is not a tool, even though it's technical in nature, whose primary goal is to solve technical problems. Right? It's designed to help us solve really messy, difficult, challenging human problems. And in particular, Jupyter is designed to be useful for humans in the middle of that messy work. Right? It's not designed to be a tool that you do the messy work and then you use Jupyter. It's meant to be used in the middle of that. So things that people often pick on Jupyter about, hidden state in the kernel or the sort of out of order notebook documents, those are not bugs or flaws in Jupyter. They are fundamental, almost requirements, because Jupyter is used in the middle of the thinking and collaborating process, which are messy. So what's the weather forecast? Let's dive in. First, I want to talk about Jupyter Server Documents. There was a poster about this last night. Jupyter Server Documents provides server-side real-time documents for collaboration, stability, and performance. Really excited about this. I think this is one of the most significant things in the Jupyter community, other than the AI work, and all the AI work we've been doing is based on top of Jupyter Server Documents. So with Jupyter Server Documents, we have moved the runtime state of all documents to the server. Jupyter Server Documents, in part, enables collaboration. We have a new high-performance backend for real-time collaboration with instant autosave and proper handling of out-of-band changes. So if you've ever been working in Jupyter, you have a notebook open, you do a git checkout. Okay, where's the source of truth of that? It's been a long-standing, very fundamental bug in Jupyter. And with Jupyter Server Documents, that's fixed. Furthermore, we've worked really hard on performance and reliability. So with Jupyter Server Documents, the server memory usage and the performance of saving documents has improved up to hundreds or thousands of times. It's basically, improvement is linear with the size of the notebook. And so you can have a notebook with thousands of outputs, and auto-saving will now take a fraction of a second. We have also improved how some of the kernel implementations. We've done this while being fully compatible with the classes that are in Jupyter Server. And this fixes a number of stability issues and bugs. Furthermore, outputs. You remember I said earlier that kernel status and outputs for long-running notebooks have been broken since the beginning, and we have fixed that. And we're really proud of this. It's a really significant step forward. Our goal in the long run is for Jupyter Server Documents to go away. We have built this as a separate package for now, but in the long run, this is going to be a set of pull requests to Jupyter Server, Jupyter Lab, and so on. However, today, already, this is fully compatible with Jupyter Server, the notebook format, and the kernel message specification. It's a simple install, and it will improve your life dramatically in Jupyter. And really, this is what provides the new foundation for collaboration in Jupyter. Next, Jupyter Chat. With Jupyter Chat, we've elevated chat to be a first-class document in Jupyter Lab in the notebook. One of the most powerful ideas of Jupyter is that notebooks are just files, right? We actually played around. Min built a prototype early on where we were storing notebooks in a SQL database, and certainly other notebook systems have taken that option. For us, we have always embraced the file system, and we're really excited about the possibilities that this opens up to have chat as files in your file system. This enables you to name, organize, and version control your chat files alongside your notebooks, markdown, and source code files. When used with AI, we can actually leverage the current working directory of a chat file as to provide an anchor for context, right? And that's a really important idea. Furthermore, you can drag files and notebooks to chat to attach them to a message. And chat messages are Jupyter flavored markdown. So you can include images, LaTeX equations. And we've built this originally for just AI chat, but then have rapidly expanded it to cover the human-to-human collaboration case, as well as the AI-to-AI collaboration case as well. And again, this is built on top of Jupyter Server Documents and Jupyter Collaboration. Next, and I want to acknowledge, there has been multiple talks by many people at this conference about these different components. I want to try to pull them together and take it back to this question of how does this relate to the fact that Jupyter, or to Jupyter's mission. So in Jupyter AI v3, everything is about AI personas. An AI persona is an agent with a name and an avatar, and you can collaborate with AI personas simply by mentioning them in your chat documents. Furthermore, AI personas, as you saw in the fantastic talk of Abby and Zach yesterday, can collaborate with each other through mentioning as well. They can take actions using the same APIs that humans leverage when they're working in the UI. And agents can either be reactive, only taking actions when they're mentioned, or proactive, where they're watching you work in the background and responding to events. And our goal here is for AI personas to enable natural human-AI collaboration. So, the weather forecast, what is this? It appears that Jupyter is betting against one agent to rule them all. Jupyter users work in a wide variety of domains where agents with custom tools, system prompts, and context will be needed. Furthermore, just like with our human organizations, there are strong reasons, UX, legal, compliance, financial, auditing, to partition work into separate AI agents that can collaborate to get work done. For example, you probably don't want an agent that's operating a nuclear power plant to also be able to execute trades on the stock market. Here's a screenshot from Zach and Abby's talk. You can see the open chat document on the left. The human user here has typed an sign, and you can see the auto-completed AI personas that are installed. You can also see that ChatGPT and Gemini are collaborating. And then on the left, another AI persona is working in the background. I think that is the code editor agent who's editing the notebook at the same time. Next, Jupyter AI components. Obviously, there's an end user experience in all of this. In addition to that, what we found is that there was a strong need to have modular building blocks to enable all of you to build AI experiences in Jupyter that suit your own needs. And so we have I'm not going to go over all these components. There's a link there at the bottom. We've been breaking Jupyter AI apart into different subcomponents. Here's a few. There's many others that all of you can assemble in different ways to build the experiences that your users need. We're really excited about this. So going back to the weather forecast, where does it appear we're headed? So Jupyter's focus of think, collaborate, and share knowledge is taking us down a different path with AI than IDEs. Jupyter is headed towards natural human-AI collaboration, an ecosystem of AI personas, both open source and closed source, that can collaborate to complete complex projects, modular building blocks for creating AI experiences in Jupyter, and an emphasis on helping humans to perform messy tasks using code and data. Decide, analyze, understand, accept, reject, discover, question, predict, create, hypothesize, test, evaluate, and even play. Again, Jupyter is not for building software, it's for thinking and collaborating. And Jupyter is also headed towards reclaiming the importance of the notebook format for humans and AI. And I want to pause on that for a second. The notebook format has become a very easy target for criticizing and picking on. And certainly, we will be the first to tell you some of the flaws that the notebook format has. At the same time, I want us to pause and think about how profound it is that Jupyter notebooks are a single file format that can contain code, markdown text with LaTeX, and outputs as well. And I want us to think about, rewind now 5 years or so, how would the language models differ if Jupyter notebooks had not existed, right? What we're finding out is that context, right? The markdown, the equations, the outputs that have been so useful for us humans have also been the context that the AI was needed both in training and now as we're using these models and agents to get work done, right? Without that additional context, put more simply, how do you think our current models know about the relationship between markdown and equations and code, or matplotlib code, and what the images look like when they're generated? It is all because of the Jupyter notebook format. And we believe, and we really, I think, are starting to reclaim the importance of this file format. It is not pure text, and I don't believe in the current age of AI that it should be pure text in most cases. Obviously, there is a usage for plain Python text files, of course. But given what Jupyter is focused on, namely thinking and collaborating, as we think about building AI into that process, the Jupyter notebook format will become more important than ever. So we're at the point now where we can start to ask really interesting questions. Again, because we're solving problems that other people are not solving, we're a bit in the dark, and we'd love you to join us in thinking about these questions. How can we build AI personas that help users to think about the right things while removing unneeded cognitive load? How can we build AI personas that enhance learning without simply doing work for learners? How do permissions work when AI personas start to collaborate? For example, maybe we would allow a trader persona to execute a trade, but not the compliance or legal persona. Or maybe you would restrict which personas can call each other. What makes a good AI collaborator? We have a sort of vague sense of what makes a good human collaborator. We need to figure out what that looks like in the AI case. And then what is the right UX for AI personas that work proactively in the background? This is largely unexplored, and we're really excited to dive into that with all of you. How do we design and manage teams of AI personas for more complex projects? This is a mess right now, right? We're all getting to the point where we're using tools like Claude Code or Codex or whatever our favorite agent is, and we do a get checkout, have Claude Code start to work, and it's going to take maybe a half an hour, and then we have to decide, okay, do we go get coffee, do we check email, or do we use something like Git work trees, create a new branch, start up Claude Code again, and let's say we do that 3 times, how on earth as a human do you track that, right? That's extremely challenging, and I don't think we have an answer to that, and I think in Jupyter we have unique tools and building blocks to think about that. Can we build personas that are fast enough to prevent the human from context switching to other work? If the goal of Jupyter is thinking, and you ask an agent to do something and it takes it half an hour and you stop thinking during that half hour, we failed, right? That is not at all the goal of Jupyter, and it's not how we envision AI being used. And so that means probably that successful AI personas in Jupyter need to be sufficiently fast. You can ask them questions, ask them to do tasks, and they respond quickly enough that you can keep thinking, right? And that's a huge challenge right now. And again, IDEs do not have this goal, right? For IDEs, in case you have noticed, everyone is pushing on agents doing tasks that take longer and longer and longer, right? In that context, it makes a lot of sense because you want to build applications and software systems at the highest quality as fast as you possibly can, not Jupyter's goal. So, and then last, how do we avoid chat fatigue, right? It does get exhausting to have to type in natural language every time you want to get something done. So we're having a sprint organized by Zach. Zach, raise your hand. So come and pick on Zach if you want to join the sprint tomorrow, or just show up. We'll help you find your way. And then there's one final question that you should be asking, and that is, wait, I work on my laptop. How do I can't just give people access to my laptop. How do I collaborate with people? The real-time collaboration capabilities of Jupyter Lab and Jupyter Server Documents sound amazing. How do I do that? I don't have an admin to set up a managed service or a cloud deployment. And again, it's not as simple as pip install Jupyter AI or Jupyter Lab if you want to collaborate using real-time collaboration with other humans. And so we're really excited to announce a new open source project we've been working on called Jupyter Deploy. This enables you to deploy Jupyter securely with collaboration on your cloud provider of choice. It's fully open source, and this is focused on individuals and small teams who need more compute and want to collaborate using Jupyter real-time collaboration and Jupyter Chat. It's secure by default with TLS and GitHub OAuth. It's vendor neutral, like the rest of Jupyter. Jupyter Deploy is extensible and can work with any cloud provider. And it's collaborative. There's a CLI where you can simply add a user to your Jupyter server using their GitHub username, GitHub team, or GitHub org. In our environments that we're using, we've got very fast UV and PXE-based environments that make it very easy to get up and running. There's a talk about this today at the bottom. It is at 2:20. If you're interested, would love to have you there. Thank you.